Welcome back to another football review episode with Footballoholics. This time around, two big games for big teams. That's the magnitude of the games that we had, and upsets, definitely. And speaking of upsets, the first one that we're going to bring to you and discuss on the table is Manchester City versus Arsenal. And for that, we've got a long standing Arsenal fan who's been in and out of the scenes and very open with his communication. So please bring on Kiran. Welcome to the show.
Hey, hi, and thanks for inviting me. Thanks.
So, Kiran, and yes, of course, as usual, we've got our defensive stalwart and, of course, our very own KD. Bringing the podium to you, Kiran. Manchester City upset. How was it? How did it feel? What were your thoughts when the full-time whistle went out?
So it's a very massive feeling. Past 5 years, we haven't seen this kind of performance from an Arsenal team against a top four. Yeah, here and there we have won few games, but this was an outright kind of a statement from Arteta's side in terms of tactics and in terms of what he is expecting from this team. But yeah, overall it was a massive win. It keeps open. It keeps us open to get a chance in Europe as well. Like I was almost had tears in my eyes seeing that performance from Arsenal team.
Kiran, what was your first impression when the lineups came out? Let's talk about Arsenal first and move to City. What were your thoughts when the Arsenal lineup came out? Did you expect any changes or you were content with the way they set out?
So, of all the games I have seen, the way Arteta manages, I was sure that it will be three back with two wing backs and then two in the middle and the three up front. But the massive change for me that I felt was bringing in Maitland-Niles as a left back option because and Tierney as a centre back because I was expecting someone like Rob Holding to be as a centre back. So it was a dicey moment. Maitland-Niles could tackle Mahrez and Walker from that side, so that was strange. And I had my doubts to it, but the way they played out, the way the game turned out, I think it justified why Arteta brought in Maitland-Niles into the squad. In terms of lineup, this was my understanding that why this is a change that I was not expecting. Yeah.
Another thing you might not have been expecting was the clean sheet with David Luiz and Mustafi in the lineup. Personally felt that was one of the best performances I've seen of David Luiz ever since he's joined Arsenal. What are your?
I would totally agree to that but in this game he was like a proper kind of a lead man who's leading the entire defense, chilling around. It had to be Luiz with that flick of his head, so getting the ball out of the box. Along with Mustafi and Tierney. I was surprised the way Tierney played as a centre back because I never expected him to do such so good in that game.
You being a defender yourself and you've been out Chelsea and you know that David Luiz from the Chelsea time has been very comfortable in a back three and he's come to Arsenal. And yesterday when we noticed something was a lot of teams now start playing out from the back, especially teams like City, Liverpool, and all. What was your take on these defensive mismatches? Rather, how would you take it as a defender there?
Yeah, it was surprising to start with. The way Arsenal performed entirely. I feel they were set up in a brilliant way. They never allowed space for City. Okay, they were congested in the middle. They allowed width to Manchester City. They allowed Manchester to have crosses in the games where no one could head the ball in. With Jesus and Sterling up front, I don't think so. Anyone would expect them to score a header. So it was a great setup. David Luiz was amazing. He was more focused on getting the ball out of the box rather than trying to be over smart. And that's what helped entire Arsenal game.
What I want to next cover with you, especially, is I think the Xhaka and Ceballos formation is really blossoming for you guys. I saw the game and it was really beautiful to see Xhaka doing the dirty work of covering up all the spaces that were not covered by the defenders, and then you have Ceballos whose only job is to spray the passes. Now I have two questions for you here. One is, would you want to fiddle with this formation or let it be as it is? Have we seen too little to decide?
So right now, I wouldn't dare to touch this lineup because the team that he is trying to build is someone wherein there is no individual players. He's like Like if you saw, there was Tierney helping out Maitland-Niles. Then on the right hand, Mustafi was wide. Then it was Bellerin coming in, and with in the spaces in between, both Ceballos and Xhaka were dragging their midfielders. Like Silva used to come along with Xhaka. If you see that goal again, uh, Mustafi had the ball, so he dragged in Silva and Dhaka and Ceballos brought in Silva and KDB. Mustafi did it. Now Mahrez was confused whether should he press the guy basically Lewis or should he stay with Tierney. Mahrez decided to press Lewis. Lewis gave a very easy, simple chip in ball to Tierney. Tierney switched it to onto the middle to Bellerin. Bellerin ran, gave it to Pepe, and at that time, till that time, Aubameyang had done his run on behind of Walker, and that was the cross, and that finished. Like if I try 100 times, I might not get it even 10 times on that. But it was such a wonderful thing.
That's very humble of you coming from a striker yourself. You brought in the sorry to cut you
Yeah,
off,
yeah,
but now that you brought in the star of the moment, Aubameyang, I think you should give him what he wants, man. Come on, why aren't you also contract? What's the deal?
I saw
The way he's playing.
Yeah.
Trust me, I would be surprised if City take another one from you guys.
So I saw Arteta's post interview today, and he said same question was asked like, "What do you think about Aubameyang situation?" He said, "The sooner it get closed, it will be better for us." So yeah, we want him to like as a fan. I want 250, give him 300. If you want to do a crowdfunding, we are ready to do it. Just get that man what he needs because
That's true.
I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
because I think he is sorry to cut you off, but I think he's the
no
only
problem.
Arsenal Henry to score 20 goals back to back for you guys, which
Yeah,
is
yeah,
astounding.
yeah. Last time someone looked that threatening was Sanchez in front of goal. But again, we know what happened to him and how Manchester poached him, and rest is history.
Right. So,
So
speaking of Manchester again, let's. Where do you think City faltered? I mean, they had their top-notch lineup, with the exception of I think Gundogan coming in, if I'm not wrong. Besides that, they had a full-fledged team. But again, the big question arises, and I like Akshay's opinion on this as well. Akshay, you being the box-to-box kind of midfielder, like the way KDB plays, do you think Jesus is letting you down? I mean, he is not the number 9 that can start in place of Aguero. Yes, he is a backup option, but he's not there in these big games. How would you feel if you had to play with someone up top like that?
Well, yes, I would agree. Jesus did not do justice in this game. So it's like when we saw City's game against Chelsea also, where they did not play with a recognized number 9 and they suffered a loss of 2-0, 2-1, sorry. In that game also, they had Sterling up front and Jesus was there. And those two up against defenders who are rock solid. And on that day, Lewis had a good game. He was rock solid there, and Mustafi and the centre backs. They could not play with their back to the goal. So what Arsenal we were trying to do is, as Nina said, since Arsenal were congested in the middle, they were trying to push the ball to the widths and try the crosses. But then that was really ineffective with the players they had. So I think Arsenal got that right by keeping those defenders close to Jesus and Sterling and cutting their channels. Being congested, they did not give the space to run also in behind, like how Arsenal exploited that of City's. Like Aubameyang got the space. So that's led to City throughout the match. It was a very, very good setup.
Nina, I'd like your view on this. I mean, we knew that City were weak without Laporte and they weren't really gelled well and all. But yesterday they were all there. Where do you think it went wrong as a defensive player?
So I feel the main difference there was Lacazette. Lacazette brought
I
their
was just about to bring him up because I think he went unnoticed because he didn't score or assist, but he was the industry.
Lacazette was able to drag their defender inside the own Arsenal box, and that's where you could see people putting balls to Lacazette, and Lacazette's shifting ball from left to right. He was the one who was responsible to shift the game from left to right, either left to right or right to left. Wherein Lacazette dropping into the mids, he congested that mids, so Gundogan was ineffective, and Laporte and both Garcia were supposed to mark Lacazette, so they were getting dragged towards Lacazette, and with that you could see Pepe and Aubameyang making runs in the wings. So that's where I felt it was more. It was not down to City's bad performance. It was more towards Arsenal's good performance that Arsenal won.
So that's true. So I guess we've covered everything. So quickly, gentlemen, what was your moment of the game? And let's start with Nina, then Akshay, and then of course, Kiran, you'll get your chance because you're the Arsenal boy yourself. So take it away.
So for me, the first goal changed everything. Once that first goal went in, the game became much simpler for Arsenal, where they had to shut the entire midfield.
Akshay?
For me, it would be the second goal. I really like the play that Arsenal did. They were doing a string of passes that they managed to do in the midfield, and Aubameyang was, continuing his run, and he was picked up very well. And I think that killed the game up. That gave Arsenal the push to defend it rigidly and see out the game.
And how about you, Kiran? What was your game moment that's really stuck on you?
So I think they both have covered both the goals now. So I think one thing that stuck with me is the way Arsenal were celebrating each clearances. Like for example, I saw one moment when Lewis was almost he was flat out on the ground and blocked the Sterling shot, and they got up and they were high-fiving each other and then pushing each other. Goals. The second goal would be the one that I'll celebrate because the way when he started the move, Pepe hold it off, gave it to Tierney, and that ball on the top of the defense, wherein Walker was playing it as one of the centre backs, so that KDB could play on the wings. So that gave Aubameyang that space. And the way he finished, and he had time to look right, and then in through the between the legs, he put that ball. So it was a great moment. Overall, it was a great match. I think
Nice.
as Arsenal fan.
So I guess student officially became the master yesterday, right?
Too early to say, yeah, but it's a good sign.